A few weeks ago in Montreal, I found almost a full second. What made the difference? Was it the new Fanatec equipment, or was it coaching, or was it maybe both? Honestly, I wasn't losing a lot of time everywhere. It was small things. Braking too early, waiting too long to get back on the throttle, pushing too hard, not using the track limits. As coach would say, do the same thing, but better. Or do the same thing and brake later. Let's head to the track and see what coach had to say.
Quicker. Okay. You can definitely get into the 27s there. Maybe you do in the next lap. Much better. Much better. The patience to rotate the car on the first apex is beautiful. Okay, slightly better braking point. About half a car length later. Better, and that's exactly what happened. I think that's where the time gain was. I think that's where your time gain is. So look, you brake later, then you do the exact same thing. Nice track limits, by the way. Just look at what you're capable of here. Look at this. This is really nice. Really nice. That's what it should be. You should not be this side of the white line. You should be between the white line and the grass, exactly where you are. So yeah, what I said in the previous lap was do the exact same thing but brake later, and that would naturally make you use more of the second curb, and that's exactly what you've done. You've braked later, but you're still trail braking. You get off the brake at a nice point. You're using the trail braking to rotate the car. You get off the brake at a nice point. This is actually nicer. I think the brake release point is a little bit deeper, which it would be because you braked later. That's what braking later and doing the exact same thing is. This time, there's no blip of the throttle in the coast, and that's because you've got a higher apex speed. You're about I mean, it's miles an hour, so it's not as accurate as kilometers an hour, but you are about 1.5 miles an hour faster on the apex. Your full throttle point's exactly the same, and that forces you to cut that curb. Oh man, I need to make a video about this, because that's the development curve. That's exactly it. That is the difference between braking as early as you need to get the track cut and the line, and then building up the confidence to brake later but do the exact same thing. That is nailed. I can't teach someone to do this chicane better than what you've just done. You just have to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until you can feel it. Where would you get a 43? So I think the easiest place for you to gain a 10th is here. Just, we're not abusing the ABS. And it's one of the hardest things for students to do, because it feels like you're coming into the corner too fast. You're not used to it. So you just got to get used to it. But it's so, on paper, it's so simple. Do the exact same thing you're doing, but brake later, which is going to force you to stay hard on the brake as you turn in, whereas you are trail braking as you turn in. There you go. You start trail braking as soon as you turn. This is not how you brake into these kinds of corners. And that's the same mistake that everyone makes. There is no one outside consistent top 100 level who brakes late enough into these corners. Everyone brakes too early. Every single student I've ever had brakes too early into hairpins, because keeping the brake hard down as you turn feels unnatural, but you'll get there. And when you do it, you'll notice the steering will feel heavier. You'll feel that sense of being closer to the limit of the grip, which in turn means you'll have a heavier coast and then be equally patient on the throttle. In fact, you'll probably be able to get on the throttle a touch earlier, because that's what the heavier steering equates to more weight shift, which is more grip. So the easiest place for you to gain time is to push your braking point into this corner. I'd really like you to practice that over the remainder of this week if you can. Even if it means you begin overshooting the corner. And then what you want to do is you want to look at your own replay and say, where do I start trail braking? And if you start trail braking anywhere before parallel with the start of the curb, there we go. So right, there we go. Back of the car parallel with the curb, right? If you start trail braking, if you release it anything less than 100% brake pressure before this point, then you're braking too early. That's what I want you to work on. I think that looks better. Good, good, good. Love it. Absolutely love it. The only change I would make, you've separated the brake and the throttle to get you the coast, which in turn has got you the rotation and the line. The only difference I would make is if you were a little more braver to cut more of this, because we didn't quite cut enough of it. So you want to turn in like this. And as long as your left-hand wheels stay in touch with the red and white curb, you don't get a penalty. So again, you've almost got to straddle this curb. Now you do that by putting the right-hand wheel on the front end of it. So the right-hand wheel's got to hit it there. And then you end up straddling it in the middle. And then brake the same way, take the same line, trail brake the same way, brake out the same point, keep everything identical, get off the brake, don't change the line. Just aim a little bit more for turning in a bit more. It's just a bit more steering. A bit more steering here is what you need to do. Just turn the wheel a little bit more to hit that curb the way I just explained. And then the only other difference is start throttling there or about there. So you wait and you go to 100% straight away. You can kind of use 50% throttle to drive over the first curb and then go to 100%. So I know it's a bit counterintuitive because it's a direct opposite of what I normally teach for everywhere else, but for this corner it works. Drive over the first curb with 50% throttle, then floor it. But yeah, it's really good actually. It's really good.
Brake later and do the exact same thing. The new SimNet pedals and the new Fanatec base didn't automatically make me faster. It gave me better feedback and more consistency. 100%. Coaching helped me understand where that time was hiding. Then it came down to repeating it over and over and helping my muscle memory change lap after lap. For me, generally with my ADHD and PTSD, it takes me longer, I'm going to say, than the average person. Just to achieve almost this second throughout the week took me over 200 laps. I have to say, thank you, Knox Gaming. The new SimNet pedals, I absolutely love.